Да, конечно. Сейчас она начнет говорить, она будет говорить.
This event from Sydney, Australia. This event from Sydney, Australia. Runs its own consultancy in psychotherapy, leadership development and facilitation. With over 15 years of professional and volunteer service, Brandon is a Senior Schusterman Fellow, a Nachum Goldman Fellow, and the recipient of B'nai Brit's Jewish Changemaker Award. He holds qualifications in counselling and Gestalt therapy and has trained in embodied leadership, adaptive leadership, counselling and Gestalt therapy, and has trained in embodied leadership, adaptive leadership, and facilitation. He's a practitioner of the Leadership Circle, Chief Facilitation Officer of Launchpad, and a Jewish LGBT leader. Welcome, Brandon.
Thank you, Ben. Good morning. We are here this morning to learn about leadership and authority. We have 15 minutes. Where do we begin?
Tell us how.
First, you set the goals.
What's the definition of leadership? Are you illustrating the fact that sometimes a leader can be silent? Or a quiet leader? You're forcing us to think on our own.
Can everyone hear?
Yeah.
Start from the beginning. You have to acknowledge.
Why are we waiting for him to tell us what's the leader? Why don't we as a group just decide?
Why does it need to be a leader? Somebody go write some
Alright. So yeah, so for the Russian people that couldn't hear, I think a lot of the people who are speaking English were basically just saying that why are we wasting the 15 minutes? What does it mean to be a leader? Why are we all just sitting here in silence? Is it just like supposed to be a silent leader? So yeah, I'm gonna pass the mic around. You guys tell us what it means to be a leader.
Okay, wait. You're translating English to English. Okay.
Obviously, I'm not translating English to English. I have someone in the back doing that. So what's a leader? So a leader to me, and the people on my program know, it's, for me, being a leader means someone who doesn't care about what people view of them. Going out and making decisions, sometimes I apologize, sometimes being an asshole, which I definitely do a lot. But someone that's willing to accept the responsibility of the decisions that they make. Take fault in it, see where they can be retrospective, see what they did wrong, see what they did right, what others did wrong, what others did right, see what weaknesses they have, try to make other people better, and be able to listen to them. Because if people are unable to listen to each other, then the leader's failing. Everyone needs to be able to have an equal opinion. The leader can be a person that makes the final judgment, but that's kind of what I think of a leader. Who else wants?
What's the question?
To give voice to others. Hey, Victoria.
Hi guys, just to stay up front, I don't want you guys to be turned to me, that's kind of weird. So, basically, I think a leader has a lot to do with self-confidence. I think in society, we're not really taught how to deal with our emotions and be confident just being ourselves. So if we don't know who we are, we don't really know how to lead anyone because we're constantly in this indecision of like, how do I make a decision among other people if I don't know my own self and my self-confidence. So that's kind of what being a leader means to me, is somebody who's really strong at their core.
Hi, I think that sometimes it's also very important for a leader to sit and listen and not always be in front and taking the lead and just listen to other people and pay attention to what they want. That also makes you, in my opinion, a very good leader. I'm very curious what Sir Brennan wants to tell us.
Yesterday, I overheard a conversation where somebody said that the leader has followers. I completely disagree with this, and I believe that a leader is actually somebody who believes in serving and doing things for how they want other people to do things, or how they think it is best for other people to do things. Sometimes it's just best for a leader to serve his people or her people and just be very empathetic, sympathetic. Just do things out of like true love for others.
Also, I think as a group, kind of what we decided, what we also discussed yesterday, if we can hear from some of the Russians,
I'm gonna pass it off to someone, and then maybe if there's someone that could translate from Russian to English, so kind of still have like two hands, and then I'll come bring you the mic, and then we can kind of share it and get the Russian point of view also.
Okay, hi everyone. Well, for me, like leadership, there are like two kinds of leaders. The first one is like people that have power, that are assholes or whatever, but people who follow them because they have to, like they have to follow orders. So for me, it's like not the rightful leader. Like for me, like leadership is like when people lead by example, you know, and so when people follow them because they want to and they are inspired by them and not because they have to, so that's truly it for me.
So we're here to learn about leadership and authority, and we have 5 more minutes. How shall we continue?
Tell us your thoughts as an expert in this field / a facilitator and authority in the subject. You are an expert in the field, as we learned yesterday. You learn from experts.
Wait, how do we know you're an expert?
What are your qualifications to be a facilitator?
Can we see your CV and then your letter of recommendation?
Need qualifications to be a leader, or can you just lead? Oh, that's a great question. I ask, do you need qualifications to be a leader, or can you just go ahead and lead? Answer your question. I'd say you can definitely just go ahead and lead. I think experience helps and it can inform you on future decisions and current questions you're facing, but at the end of the day, trial by fire, you just gotta jump in. Yes.
Don't apologize.
So I think what you said is the difference between an authority and a leader. Like if the people are following a guy because they need to, that's just an authority and it's not a leader. And a leader is when someone that really has, because of what he has done, has been recognized, he has been recognized from the group that he is worthy to lead them, you know. And the other thing that I think is like the leader don't necessarily, I think we have talked a lot about the leader, but leadership is also a relationship between one person and a group. Like you can, I mean, I do also believe that you can also be a leader on your own and create change on your own, but I don't know if that's necessarily leadership if you don't move other people. Like you need to move other people to be leadership. I don't know if you call them followers or not, but what I believe is like the leader doesn't necessarily needs to be like the best one at anything. Like he just needs to pull the best things about, I mean, in everyone else. Like he needs to empower a group. It's not about like he being the one that creates all of the change and close all of the gaps. He needs to move people for them to close the gap. It's about moving people for an objective.
Thank you.
Hi, you wanted to hear a Russian point of view? I'll tell you. Well, what you're saying, everyone agrees. Like I asked guys, and they're yeah, everyone is saying the right thing. And I also think that a good leader is a person who, bless you. A good leader is a person who, how to say that? Wait a second. I'm sorry. You have to wait. I'm thinking. People want to listen to him. Like He doesn't ask for others to follow him, but people want to do that because he's a good example. Sometimes leaders, they're quiet, sometimes they're loud, but people just want to follow him because he's a good example. He does things. He doesn't talk too much. He shows them that actually I can do that and you can do that. So that's what I think. A leader is someone who knows what to do, he does that, and people just want to follow him because they like the example he gives. That's it. I think that there are two aspects. First, functionality. Leader is the person is an organizer is first, and second, there is a person who has charisma. I don't know.
I think a leader needs to delegate because, as my friend was saying, if you want to make changes, movement, like a leader needs to like have, need to like delegate like what each person is doing. And I also believe that a leader needs to be able to communicate, not only communicate with the people who he's leading, also communicate with himself. And how is that communication going to work with himself? By his thoughts, his or her thoughts.
Our time is up, thank you.
So now we're gonna listen to him after we graduate. Okay.
Finish it up.
Okay, so I kind of disagree with what you said, that a leader doesn't give a fuck about what people think. I think that you do need to care what people think about you, because if you want to be a leader, then you need to inspire other people, and in order to have them follow you, they need to respect you and you need to respect them too.
So I think what I meant by that was more like when I don't care, it's like when the tough decisions happen and people are upset, like obviously, it's like I had to make the decision, people are not gonna like me. Like I'm not taking it so personally, decisions had to be made.
Okay, guys. I would like us now for each of you to feel for a moment what you're feeling. You can come up here, Cody, and stay here with us if you'd like, or sit down, whichever you prefer. I would like to hear what are your feelings now as data. What are you feeling?
So I was just gonna say I feel happy because I haven't spoken in front of that many people in a really long time. I felt heard, so that's pretty solid. Thank you guys.
I feel like we're making kind of the same mistake like yesterday we did, like in my opinion. So I think a lot of people are gonna have like different opinions about what's leadership, what's a leader, what's a good or there's not a right or wrong way to say it. But I would like to hear from you guys, since you are like the expert of the topic, how would like to lead, what's the skill set that you need. Like I would like to learn from you, and so like listening like a lot of opinions, which is important of course, but I would like to learn from you instead.
So what would you say that feeling was? Can somebody be of help here? Disappointment. What did you say? Upset. Okay, disappointed, upset. Yes.
Fear. Like I think at least I wonder, sorry, I know I'm not speaking into the microphone, so Russian, sorry.
I'm coming.
Short legs. You wanna switch? I think that at least for me, I felt a little fear in the sense of, were we asking the correct question to start with? We started with, what does it mean to be a leader, but like, maybe there was an alternative question that we could have started with, because we talked about that yesterday, I felt like. Or that, so I guess, I don't know, fear that we weren't asking, not the right question, but like, could we push it further in some way, shape, or form?
I feel embarrassed. I think we had a very hard day yesterday with the silence, so we're all very tense. But I am very sorry if we disrespected our speaker, is that what you say? Speaker, sorry. He started with the silence again, so we were very tense. But the way we reacted, it was aggressive. Maybe responses instead of reactions are better. So I'm very sorry if we were disrespectful.
All right, so let me just stay with you for a moment there, okay? Thank you. This is a very important contribution. So what's your name?
Tanya.
So what Tanya is saying to us is that the silence caused tension, right? Did anybody else feel the tension? Raise your hand high so that others can see. Thank you. And then the tension caused a certain reaction. So let's talk now about this reaction as well. Tanya described an aggressive reaction, right, Tanya?
Yes.
Who felt the aggression? Okay. What else?
And I don't feel aggression. For me, it was very, I feel involved. And for me, it was unexpected, but effectively way of facilitation with silence. Now I feel good. It wasn't something like, oh, what's the hell, what's going on? Because I believe that in the end I understand the meaning of this action and this process, because the temp is authority.
How many people feel that they understand now better? Okay. Yes, what else?
So for me, the reason I stood up is I always, I'm a big nurturer, like the big brother, like I always feel the need to take care of people, no matter what, it can be anything from helping people out and I live with to when you're the drunk person, and I'm even drunk, I'm taking care of you. Like that's just me always. I always want to fix things. And so when I felt the frustration, I was like, wow, we're wasting time, people are gonna be upset, I can always feel it. So then the nurturing aspect kicked in and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna take over and take the mic and we'll still do something in 15 minutes.
Does anybody else see other things in what Cody did?
Yeah, no, I thought what Cody did was a really good idea. I think the silence was incredibly important because it caused tension, and being a leader and leadership, kind of like we talked about, we have to face certain challenges in our life. And I think from that came an incredible list of definitions. We all came together because we all come from different backgrounds, different languages, different cultures. But at the end of the day, there's so many different types of leadership, but we're all leaders in one of the same aspect. I think, Cody showed that there's a certain way that you can go about being a leader. Sandy showed there's a certain way you can go about being a leader. You can be on the board writing for us, or you can be leading by walking around handing around the mic and getting people involved. But at the end of the day, it's all leadership. And I thought that was a really interesting aspect.
Yeah. You're cut off, John. I will say you spoke with feedback. It's okay.
So I have a question. If getting up when I'm feeling frustrated? Is that nurturing or power play to grab the mic?
For me, it's not a power play.
No, that's what she was asking.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about authority, and I think that sometimes authority also comes from respect. And sometimes people, or it's not the place, or not the position, or not the time to grab the leadership. Sometimes it's, I don't know, sometimes it's just, you just have to let it go, and it's not the time, or you don't have the authority to take the leadership. And the tension that we felt just a few minutes ago, for me, in my opinion, I don't think it was the time to take the leadership, to grab the mic and to go for it, because it's something that people decide together. Like, you want to be lead, and it's not something that's someone that's taking the lead. Like, it's a thing you choose together to be led.
Okay, so that tension that everybody felt, the fear, getting up with a reaction to it. What Cody described, was that leadership or authority?
Personally, I think that Cody, he didn't stand up there and say, this is what I think that, this is a leader, and that's that. He turned it back on the people that are, sitting in this room. So I don't think it was a play of power. It was a play of having all the conversations that were the side conversations coming together into one conversation. I didn't think that it was a power play for me to get up there and write stuff down. I think that it was facilitating the conversation so that instead of having, 5 different, we all had little awkward conversations before. Like, people were talking, what is he trying to do? Like, it was coming together into one conversation.
Yeah, the group is very fearful. This group, I think, is still very fearful. What are you afraid of?
I just have a quick people question. I don't know if it was authority or leadership. I think it just needs to prove confidence and somebody to get up there and lead this. But on the other hand, if someone felt that it was authority, then they could have spoken up to say that they don't think it's a good way to do this. So, but nobody said that it's not okay that he's going out there and leading this.
I want to suggest that this group can't actually be in fear for very long. Because what I noticed just standing here before you is that discomfort that we were in, that gap that we were in, we were only there for maybe 2 minutes max. And then what happened? We saw some rumblings in the crowd, yeah? Discomfort, tensions, kind of an itchiness in our seats. People laughing, giggling, looking at each other, looking at me, expecting something. And then Cody takes the mic and restores order. Yeah. Comes back to the technical question of what is a leader. And we spent how long talking about definitions of a leader. And suddenly that kind of recalibrated. It rebalanced the system somehow. Took us out of the discomfort, out of the gap. So I would argue, my observation is that this group can't be in the gap. But it's too uncomfortable. What are your thoughts?
So I don't think it's about I don't think it's about
not being a discomfort in the gap. It's just that, yes, we're here for 4 days. We need to give the content. It's something we realized yesterday. We are responsible for the content of this entire summit. We won't wait for you guys to give us the content. You're leading us through what we're going through. And yeah, we said we have 15 minutes to talk about something that big. So we do want to make something out of it. Sitting here in silence, yeah, it does say something, but it's not like the personality of people here to sit down in silence for 15 minutes and just wait for something to happen.
I just think that, in our life, we are trying to find sense in everything we do and everything we say and everything people say. So, for example, for me, I hate wasting my time for nothing. And when people ask me questions that I don't really understand why, we expect something. So, their aspiration and reality, as you said yesterday. So, we actually think and we expect you to teach us something, tell us something that we don't know, or we know what we want, to know that it's true, what we know. And so we are waiting here looking at you and you say nothing. And of course, we're trying to find sense in that. And that's probably a good thing to show us that actually probably no one knows what's going on and in real life every day. And maybe it's us to find the meaning ourselves and just do something. So to
Yeah, so
make
what
it
I hear in
meaningful.
that is, Brandon, we've come here to learn. Don't waste our time. Don't ask us stupid questions. Don't ask us silly things. We want to learn. Tell us, teach us, give us the answers. Tell us what is leadership and authority. That's what I've heard. Is that accurate?
Well, not really. Did you hear what I said in the end? But actually, maybe it's a good lesson that, in our life, no one actually, even, when I was a teenager, I thought that when I grow up, I know all the answers, I'll be smart, and I'll know everything, and I will know what is the meaning of everything I do and see and feel. But I understand as I grow up that actually no one knows. No one knows the right answer, and no one knows what's going on in this life. So it's us to make every moment meaningful, and it's us to put a sense in everything we do and see and hear.
So this is a great moment for us to just pause and zoom out for a second, yeah? Because what we see, what we know happens in systems as we see play out here, is that when there is tension, when there is anxiety, when there is discomfort in a system, we seek to rebalance it, yeah? The system needs to be in balance in order for us as human beings to feel safe. And so what we typically do as human beings is we turn to authority figures, yeah? And here was one in the room, standing at the front of the room. All of these eyes peered towards me, yeah? Tell us, give us the answer, what do we do? Because what we know about authority is that authority has three major, I'm so sorry, I just took the water. Authority has three major functions, yeah? I'm gonna write them up here. The first is protection. The second is direction. And the third is order. This is how we understand authority in the land of adaptive leadership. What do they mean? Protection. Am I going to be safe here? Is it okay for me to be here? Can I speak in front of a large crowd of people for the first time in my life? Or for the first time in a long time? Will it be okay? Direction. Where are we headed? What's the vision here? What's the mission? Where are we going? Is it clear where we're headed in this session? And order. How do things work here? What's my role? What's your role? Yeah? These are the functions of authority. And we have authorities who provide these three pillars for us in exchange for cooperation and attention. Yeah? If I fulfill these functions for you, you will engage with me You'll answer the questions, I may not waste your time. And we may make some learning, we may make some discoveries here about what is leadership and authority. Thoughts?
I think it's a bit strange that we've now found ourselves in a more structured part of the talk when we had this kind of disorder. And now we are kind of all feeling safe again, and we're all like, oh, okay, now the speaker really is talking. And yet we don't really have any anarchy. And I feel like it's just interesting that we've gone back to the beginning. I feel like we haven't really gone past the barrier that maybe we should have. I feel like maybe we should still be facilitating the session.
Is that a request?
Yeah.
So make your request.
I think we should stop. I think we should carry on listening to our own views, because I think we were getting somewhere, and then we stopped because you're the authority, and I don't think. I think I was personally, I can only speak for myself, I was really enjoying everyone's opinions and hearing people's opinions from different cultures. And I'd love it if we could carry on hearing people's opinions, if people want to do that.
So here we have some resistance to the authority. Shut up, Brandon. Stop talking. Yeah? I want to hear from the crowd, from the group, from my group. Ask your question.
Whose group is this? Is this your group or is this our group? And I think it's our group, and I want to hear everyone's points of view. Do you guys want to do that?
I like O's opinion. I think it will be an anarchy if everyone now states opinion. We have a limit of time. I would like to hear Brandon speak.
For what purpose do you ask this question? Yeah? Other people in the room, let's hear your voices too. For what purpose might we ask this question?
So I slightly disagree, because I agree that this is our group and not Brendan's group, but I really wanted, and I wish that no one has talked and we're staying in the silence, because I really liked the thoughts that came into my head when there was a silence. I started thinking about what should I do? Should I talk, whether or not? Maybe we should stay silent. Maybe we should do something. And I think that these thoughts are the thinking process that we need. Like when there was a silence, I was thinking. The moment we started talking again, and we started passing the microphone and making our opinions, I stopped thinking. I started listening to others, and it's good. It's great. We are doing it on the side, but we need time to think also. In my opinion.
Thank you.
Can I ask a random question? Is anyone else really hot? And if so, can we get the clicker and turn on some of these ACs? I don't know if anyone else is on board with that, but anyone else hot?
Yes. So you see, we could argue here too, this is an interpretation, yeah? That we had to puncture the heat in the room. Maybe there was some anxiety brewing here in the room, yeah, between the two members. So we need to make a comment. Sarah.
I'm wondering if this is a technical response to the adaptive challenge that we're facing in this group right now. the idea of heat and lowering it.
I think it's really interesting from the beginning, from the silence. What I was thinking, I wanted to say earlier that I don't think I'm used to speaking up. At least me, I'm not used to speaking up. We usually have authority figures that not usually have the place in society in general to speak up. And I think it was interesting that we could. And I think the tension is something a lot of people experience in their daily life because we have a lot of impotence about a lot of things that happen and we don't have the space to speak up. And authority figures usually don't really want people to speak up because it's easier to control. If you don't, actually the anarchy that happens, if what would happen in society if everyone spoke up their minds. And also it's interesting that we actually need an order and that we felt safer when you started talking about that. So I just felt a really interesting analogy between society and what happened here.
Yes, and we often say that we are a microcosm, that we are the learning lab. What happens in here, what happens between us in here, is in some way emblematic, or it's a replica of what's happening outside of here, in broader society, in our communities, in our families, in our social circles. They're not completely disparate. Is there a comment here before we move on?
Yeah, sorry, I'm not going to comment on what you said now. I just want to go back to the feeling in the beginning. I was shocked because a lot of speakers usually will ask this rhetorical question and say like, okay, so where do we start? And then they will start and they will continue. So that's why I said like start from the beginning because that's what usually will happen after that type of question. But I was shocked because you were honestly asking where do we as a group start. But I think we sort of failed because the question that you wanted, we didn't listen because the question that you wanted to know was the difference between an authority and a leader. And we started just talking about leaders, and we left all of the authority figure out of the paper. So when he said we should continue doing the thing on our own, I think we failed because I think we also need a little bit of a facilitator. We were doing the exercise not in the way that I think it was meant to be, but it was good, and we were maybe reaching some points.
Yeah, so this is a great point because often authority is necessary. Sometimes we need the vessel or the container or the room to be held for us. There needs to be a bound for the work to happen. But it's not always sufficient. And there's a big difference in that. It's necessary, but not always sufficient. Because what we do is that we defer to the authority to take leadership for the moment. And what's happened over time in society is that we have somehow conflated these two items, these two ideas. We've said that authority and leadership are exactly the same thing. That those in authority are the leaders. The Obamas, the Trumps, the Gandhis, the Mandelas. The people in authority are the leaders. And we expect them to fulfill the role and the task of leadership. But they don't always do it, do they? And then we're disappointed. We feel resentful. We might feel fearful. Some of the things we experience here in the room, the same pattern playing out time and time again. But how do we understand leadership in an adaptive sense? Some of this came up yesterday. Does anyone remember? How do we define leadership? have a technical issue going on at the front of the room. Pardon? Yeah, so that's a part of it, yeah? So leadership, we might say, adaptive leadership might involve engaging stakeholders in the adaptive component. We talk about leadership as mobilizing people through difficult work to make progress, to get from reality to aspiration, yeah? To make movement, to navigate through the gap, through the complexity, through the discomfort, yeah? So it might be argued that potentially what Kobe did today was an act of leadership. Yeah, maybe he saw that the work needed to be done, hands needed to be held in order to get us through that discomfort. I don't want to put words in his mouth. I can't see him. Right here. Okay, go on. I don't want to put words in your mouth, and I don't want to assume your intentions, right? I don't want to speak on your behalf. But it's an interpretation that maybe it was an act of leadership. Maybe it wasn't. Because work needed to be done. Our task today was to learn about leadership and authority. That was our purpose in this session. Was progress made? It's a nod in here, a doubtful nod. Yeah? Was progress made? A yes in the front of the room. And did that work come from the authority or not? No. Yeah.
So, as a teacher, I feel like half of my job is teaching, and then the other half is giving my students the tools to solve their own problems. Personally, I'm feeling very frustrated because I feel like I don't necessarily have the tools that I need to solve this problem right now. I feel like the silence that we started with could have been a tool for us to start using. But again, I feel like I need maybe a little bit of direction or those tools with which I can decide whether or not to use. So I think I'm just a little bit frustrated. I don't know if I necessarily absorbed as much as I wanted to in this session. Yeah, that's just how I'm feeling. I'm wondering if anyone else is frustrated because yeah? Yeah? Okay.
Show of hands, who's frustrated? Got a lot of comrades in the room. What did it take for you to just make that comment?
I think it took some thought. Just like Tom was saying, silence was really useful for us to think, but what would we think? And for me, if I'm teaching a student, I like to give them a little bit of some, as you were saying, structure to think within.
What happened in your body between your neck and your belly button?
Just now or during the silence?
When I make that comment.
Heat. I think that it's easy to feel like someone's being attacked just by being asked a question. I felt like I wasn't really sure how to answer, so I was a little bit nervous to respond. Because I'm a thinker and I need to contemplate things a little bit.
Great.
That was my immediate response.
Heat, nervousness. I don't want to be the authority here, but I want to suggest that these are your skills to do the work, and that you've just done it in some way. Great. Yes.
Understand? Can you explain that further?
Sure. I asked him what was happening in his body just before he made a comment, before he revealed himself in the room. Yeah? And he said that there was heat in his body. And he mentioned there were nerves, like nervousness. We have all this data that's happening in our body all the time. We're having internal reactions and responses in our body the whole time. And we know that adaptive work comes from the heart. Yeah, it lives in the heart. It's about loyalty, it's about values, it's about assumptions and beliefs. It has less to do with what's going on in the head. Because some of the stuff that goes on in the head has very clear solutions, clear outcomes. And sometimes as adaptive leaders, we need to learn how to listen to our body, to understand what our body is telling us. How do I feel in this moment? What do I think about this person? How do I respond when you ask me X? What happens to me when you give me silence? Yeah, this is great data, great information, and if we can learn that, if we can listen to it, the skill is there, I would argue. That's the skill, part of the skill. I want to end with a very short reflection from my synagogue that I attend in Sydney, Australia. When you walk into the main sanctuary in the synagogue, all the seats are facing the Aron HaKodesh, the Ark. Yeah, it's at the front of the room in the center. And right above the holy Ark, it says in Hebrew, I'll say it in English, know before whom you stand. It's a very powerful comment. Yeah, it's a very powerful line. Know before whom you stand. This idea of reverence, that you are standing before the Almighty, the Divine, this omniscient presence. Yeah, and it tells us to be careful. You know, be careful how you show up, what you do in this space. Be careful what you say, what you don't say. Be aware of your intentions and your actions, because you are before this authority of Jewish life. And it's confronting, because maybe I don't want to comply with the system in the synagogue. Or maybe I want to talk during the Amidah. Or maybe I want to walk out during a sermon. I have no idea what's going to happen, right? But we're confronted all the time with this authority figures. They exist everywhere. Yesterday, Ben asked us about some of the authority figures in our lives, and some of the responses were, you know, rabbis, parents, doctors, teachers, professors, they're everywhere. We're kind of set up and primed to live with authority figures in our lives. But my question to you in closing is, what happens to your leadership when you're in the presence of authority? Thank you.